good evening. Welcome to the first episode of the Simply Art-Licious, the program that draws your attention to the diverse and wonderful variety of artistic expressions that can be found out there. I'm your host Ferdy, and every week we will showcase a different form of art and craft, from as simple as cartoon drawing to more complex ones, such as stone carving. We will even get down and dirty to build the most beautiful sandcastle or freeze ourselves just to construct a cool ice sculpture for your viewing pleasure. And artists who specialize in their art and craft practices will be invited each week to share with us their trials and tribulations as well as their glories and honors while indulging in their area of expertise. Not only that, these invited artists will also perform a demonstration on how to create a basic masterpiece in the hope of you, our audiences, will pick up a skill or two. Maybe you will be even inspired to unleash your hidden talent and carry on to become a well-known artist. For our very first episode, we will take a look at an art originated from the country of the rising sun. It is called...
Hello, and welcome to Simply Art-Licious. I'm your host, Nerdy Nor.
We are introducing today's episode. Who hires the guy anyway?
Oh, say lah. Today we are going to introduce to you an art using paper and sleight of hand to create animals such as birds and rabbits. No, it's not magic tricks. It's called origami. Huh? Origami? What a funny name. What does it mean?
Well, Nerdy, the word origami is a Japanese word itself. It is a compound of two smaller Japanese words, ori meaning to fold and kami meaning paper. Recently, all forms of paper folding were not grouped under the word origami, namely sesame, a kind of wrapper used for formal occasions. Before that, paper folding for play was known by a variety of names, including orikata, orisu, orimono, tatamigami, and others. Exactly why origami became the common name is not known. It has been suggested that the word was adopted in the kindergartens because the written characters were easier for young children to write.
Oh, now I know what origami means. It literally means folding paper. That's brilliant! The first Japanese origami was dated in the 6th century and was used for religious ceremonious purposes only due to the high cost of paper. Origami butterflies was referenced in a poem by Ihara Shaikaku in 1680 to describe the use of origami butterflies in Shinto's wedding to represent the bride and groom. Get it? Well, that's more. Samurai warriors, yes, the fierce samurai warriors, used to exchange gifts adorned with noshi, a type of good luck charm made from folded piece of paper.
Wow, Nerdy, I did not know that you are very knowledgeable. Very impressive. There was a famous story in Japan involving the most famous origami designs, Japanese crane. The crane is auspicious in Japanese culture, and legend says that anyone who folds 1,000 paper cranes will have their heart's desire come true. Years later, the origami crane has evolved to become a symbol of peace.
Wow, that is certainly an interesting story, Ferdy. Well, other than the paper crane, what design does the origami make?
Now, that's a good question. Depending on one's creativity, anything created from folding a piece of paper is considered origami. It can be as simple as the classic paper plane that you had just came up with, an intermediate level which involves repeating steps of folding and unfolding the paper until you get the design, such as the highly detailed dragon picks up the single-headed dragon, or create in designs involving multiple sheets of paper such as this three-headed dragon. So what differentiates origami from other modern techniques is that no cutting or gluing is required in the sculpturing process. We all know how articulate the Japanese are, that the ones cutting and gluing are used, it is considered an origami piece.
Well, I can still remember when we were kids, there are no computer games, no mobile Android games. We used to make origami as toys. My fondest memory was making this paper frog that can jump when you press the back of its body, supposedly its hind legs. We had hours of fun challenging one another to see whose frog can jump the furthest. Let me tell you a secret. The smaller the frog, the further it can jump. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3.
Oh well, other than what had been mentioned, origami also make very good decoration items around the house, such as origami flowers or hanging ornaments. There are even those that are sold as decorative lamps.
Trivia time! Do you know that one of Singapore's famous landmarks used origami as its decoration? No? Let me tell you. It's none other than Singapore's Changi Airport. The Changi Aviation Gallery uses the humble paper aeroplanes lined across its ceilings to resemble flight paths of aeroplanes. The design of this decoration used a single color to represent one flight path, and you will be mesmerized by the multiple colors crisscrossing one another. It is actually a trivia by itself, where each paper aeroplane actually symbolizes a real aeroplane that Changi Airport handles in a day. There are also wall murals that depict how to hold the various paper aeroplanes. Another aspect of origami is that it's not only confined to using paper. At restaurants and dinner banquets, the table napkins are usually folded into origami objects such as this to make the table setting more elegant.
And yes, hotel rooms provide towels for their visitors, but at superior hotels or during special occasions such as Valentine's Day, the towels are folded into an origami such as double swans with their necks forming a heart shape and flower petals strewn on the bed to make the setting more romantic. Lastly, during weddings, it is a customary practice for the wedding couple to give out door gifts. Lately, it has become a trend to give out door gifts in a form of cupcakes or log cakes, which are actually folded kitchen towels. This makes the basic gift more interesting and appealing.
Well, you got that one right. Next up, a famous artist will be joining us in the studio for an interview. Join us after the break. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to the show. Today, we have a very special guest in the studio. He comes all the way from Japan and has won multiple origami competitions around the world. Ferdy, I'm sure you have heard of the Red Sea Leviathan origami. Yes, he's none other than the world-famous Shinigami Origami.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Shinigami Origami.
Welcome, Origami. It's been an honor to have you here in the show with us today. You have been a worldwide phenomenon since you were a baby and now an origami artist. Your work has been displayed around the world at galleries and World Origami Museum. You even have clients such as Rolls-Royce and Ferrari. Impressive, I must say. So, Origami, tell us, what does it mean to be the best in what you do, and how does it feel?
First of all, thank you, Ferdy and Nerdy, for having me on the show. It's really a great pleasure to be here. Being on top is a great feeling. Of course, art knows no boundaries, and there's so much more for me to learn in the world of origami. Being on top means I'm able to actually teach and inspire people to love the origami world, and especially those who are less fortunate.
Well said. I'm sure you had already achieved a lot during the past few years. So tell us how you chanced upon origami growing up in Japan, and what inspired you to fold the signature Red Sea Leviathan.
For me, it's a very interesting story. I started out when I was very young. My mom actually had cancer. So every day after school, I would spend some time visiting her in the hospital. So I will always ask her the same question, Mom, when are you going to get better? She will always give me the same reply, soon I'll get better. So days gone by, her condition actually worsened, but I will always ask her the same question. But there was this special day where when I visited her, I asked her that question. She gave me a very different reply. What she did was she took out a piece of paper, she started to fold an origami crane, and then she taught me how to fold the crane as well. So after I'm done folding with the crane, she actually informed me that if let's say the day which she'll get better is the day which I actually completed the 1,000 crane. So I got really excited. I actually rushed home to start folding origami cranes. Every day I'll spend a few hours just to fold the cranes. So on the day which I completed the 1,000 crane, I got really excited. I took out the box and I actually rushed over to the clinic, and then I showed it to my mom. So at that point in time, my mom was actually in the critical stages, but she took out her last strength, took out my piece of origami crane, and then she smiled, and then she looked at me. She told me that she was really proud of me, that I should continue to work hard, and then whenever I fold a paper crane, I'll be reminded of her and that she's always by my side. Yeah, so that's the reason why my passion for origami continued to grow, and I started to fold different types of origami cranes, like in terms of we try out different things like your frogs and rabbits as well. And the reason why I actually folded the Red Sea Leviathan was in memory of her, because she actually cremated her body and I scattered her ashes in the sea as she expected it. So it's a memory of her watching over me by the seaside.
Really sorry to hear about your mom, but look at you now. You had 100 over origami competition around the world, taught so many orphanage children. Your works had inspired many others to follow your footsteps. So that I would say you has an amazing journey for you so far. So I'm sure your mom will be very proud of you right now.
And I understand that you teach children at the orphanage. Let's say I'm an orphan. No, I'm not an orphan, just say only. And I'm one of your students. What origami will you teach me as a beginner like myself?
Well, for starters, I will teach them the most basic paper folding of a plane. So once you can see them playing around the plane, enjoying the plane, having a passion for it, I will move on to teach them to fold basic animals like your frogs and rabbits. Yeah.
So are there any special methods or tricks in conjuring giant and sophisticated origami art?
For starters, to fold such a big piece of origami, the main problem you face is to get a large enough piece of paper to start with.
Yes.
So to make it easier for you guys to understand, let me illustrate using A4 size paper.
Okay.
So we can actually have a lot of different A4 size papers stacked together and then glued together to form the big piece of paper to start with. So of course you need a lot of preparations to know what size you want to start off with, so that you can make the right size origami which you wanted in the end. Yeah, so the next problem we face is after you've completed such a big piece, you need to make it stand. So that's one of the challenges. So in order to solve such problems, some tips that I can give you is you can actually use glue starch or even acrylic spray to harden it, solidify it, so that it can actually stand on its own.
Well, that is very informative. Maybe I will try one when I'm be expert. So yes, I see that you brought some samples with you in the studio. Can you tell us more about them?
Sure, no problem. These are some of the origami pieces done up by my student and myself. Yeah, some I've actually entered it inside the National Origami Competition. This is actually held by the Asian Origami Organization. So you can see over here, this is the one which we have talked about so much, the Red Sea Leviathan.
Okay.
And this is the one which I've entered this year in our competition. It's a three-headed dragon which I've done up. Yeah. We also have some different categories where my students have entered as well. So you can see this is one of the horse which is done by one of my senior students. And especially this is a beautiful piece by one of my senior students as well. This is a more unique one because it comprises of a lot of different small pieces of origami pieced together to form such a big piece. Yeah. And we also have other categories for more junior my students as well. So we can see over here we have this little pigeon bird over here. And even for the ladies, they can make stuff like this rose petal over here. I think this is quite a beautiful piece.
Yes.
And then we also have cute pieces like the elephant you see over here. And even for special occasions, you can actually give a special gift by folding such origami heart shape for your loved ones. Yeah.
So are there any secrets to great origami art?
Secrets will be that you need a lot of passion and determination.
Okay.
Because to fold such an example of a three-headed dragon, right, it might take up to 3 to 4 days to actually complete such a piece. So in between, if let's say you have any small errors that you have done, you actually need to restart all over again to build origami piece. So definitely you need a lot of passion, determination to keep you going in folding the origami which you want in the end itself.
Okay, one last question.
Yes.
What keeps you inspired and motivated?
For me, the biggest inspiration is actually, of course, the orphanage students. So every time I teach them a piece, I will need to spend a lot of time to teach them it. But once you can see them completing the origami piece and them smiling and having fun, it's a joy that they bring me that it really keeps me going. Yeah, so of course,
wonderful.
I want to fold a lot more origami pieces to show the world.
Yes, seeing how Shinigami tells us, he still intrigues me, Nerdy. So perhaps one day Shinigami will make an origami out of you, Nerdy.
Maybe you?
Don't go away, Shinigami will be teaching us all on how to craft a rabbit. Stay tuned.